We are now back from a quick smoke break and we'll talk about who is against legalizing marijuana and why. The industries found to be against legalizing marijuana include pharmaceutical companies, police unions, private prisons and prison guard unions, drug cartels, and alcohol companies. Now let's dive into why these industries are against legalizing marijuana. Since the legalization of medical marijuana in some states, there has been a decrease in the amount of pharmaceutical drugs prescribed if those symptoms can be treated with marijuana. Many pharmaceutical companies have disclosed this threat with the SEC. They have also been donating thousands of dollars to anti-marijuana campaigns. This graph shows a decrease in quantity demanded for the pharmaceutical drugs with the legalization of medical marijuana. But the DEA mentioned reclassifying marijuana to be a Schedule II drug, giving Big Pharma more control over the substance with heavy regulation. But what would this do to the current industry operations? This is Tim, the scientist for this pharmaceutical company testing marijuana as a Schedule II drug. This is Amy, manager of the dispensary that will now be laying off John due to cutbacks for losing money. Now the dispensary has a smaller demand for labor and John is without a job while Big Pharma gets rich. Meet Greg, CEO of a beer company who told its investors that marijuana would adversely impact the demand of their product. Little does he know, Rachel loves to now drink beer whenever she smokes. They could be complementary. Now let's take a closer look at Greg's graph. Alcohol companies suspect that an increase in the demand and supply of marijuana due to it being legalized would decrease the quantity demanded for alcoholic beverages because they are both for recreational use. But this may not be the case. Greg is thinking of marijuana as a substitute to alcohol. However, what if marijuana and alcohol are complementary products? According to recent studies, in places where marijuana has been legalized, alcohol consumption has actually increased, as shown in this graph. The next three groups, police unions, private prisons, and prison guard unions, are all fighting against the legalization of marijuana for similar reasons. The war on drugs supplies heavy funding to law enforcement. Enormous government grants go towards police departments to fund drug enforcement. Some of that funding is allocated to focus solely on marijuana control. Well, once the police arrest them, off to prison they go. In 2013, over 693,000 people were arrested in the United States for marijuana-related crimes. The more people incarcerated, the more money private prisons make. The more people incarcerated, the more prison guards needed. Imagine if those 693,000 people that were incarcerated for marijuana-related crimes were no longer in prison. The quantity demanded for prison guard labor would decrease and the prison guard job security would be jeopardized. Now let's fly over to Mexico, where Peter has decided to buy from U.S. producers rather than Marie, the Mexican marijuana farmer. 30% of the drug cartel's revenue comes from marijuana sales, and now their profits are hurting. So Maria now can't feed her kid. Marie has a plan. Mexican drug cartels are adjusting to the shifts in the marketplace by distinguishing their products from others, targeting local consumers rather than U.S. buyers, and increasing activity in the other substances such as heroin and cocaine.